Hey everybody, it's Kendra. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. So my video today is going to be a garden update and balcony update. Actually, that's where I am right now, chilling like a villain on the balcony. Anyway, the plants on my balcony have exploded. The plants in my garden have exploded. It's crazy. Let's take a peek. All right, so here we are on the downstairs balcony. I got all sorts of stuff growing, really taking off. Looks awesome. We'll start in this corner. Got my giant citronella that has exploded. And then this is my lemon verbena. Look at that, it's massive. This thing is probably 3 feet tall. Crazy. Big old lemon balm plant over there. And now this pot, actually in my last video, this was planted with arugula, but the arugula was super nasty. So I put in, there was a plant right here, but it died. So now we got a French lavender, and then these two dudes, I don't know what they're called. I think I did have a purple one like that. It's either a purple one or a red one there, but he croaked. Basil, got some thyme, and look at this dude. This is like this, what are you called? Vino Verde or Fino Verde. And this guy has really grown. He's taken off so much. He's gotten so big, so cute. And then an oregano. He's got a pretty big basil here. Super sad little pot of cat grass. I've got some more growing upstairs for the girls. And then some catnip. And then I got this pot here. And this sweet potato vine, I just want to point out, this thing has taken off so much. It's got these two massive vines growing. One here. And then another guy back here, just enormous. Here we got another thyme plant, and then this other pot is doing really well, looks really pretty. This stuff over here is a little bit sad. I don't think it has enough space. Oh, sorry, baby. Again, huge sweet potato vine, pretty geraniums. Oh, everything just looks so good and lush. I love it. Now, here we are on the upstairs balcony, and again, everything is massive, totally taken off here. Look at this kale. So much kale here. This is crazy. I'm just overloaded with kale between the balcony and the garden. New cat grass starting for the girls. Some lavender. This looks so good. I am waiting for it to get some pretty blossoms though. Giant parsley plants. This purple dude back here, don't know the name of that. Mint plant here. And then I have a couple jade plants. My neighbor's actually moving, so she gave me a ton of plants. So I repotted some jade. So I've got one pot with 3 there, one pot with a little guy, another little jade down there, next to some nasturtiums, cilantro. The cilantro has gone to seed already. It's kind of a leggy, scraggly beast. But luckily I do have a nice cilantro in the garden. And then again, just like my last video, I'm filming this right after I watered this lettuce. So it looks like it's dying, but it will be revived, I promise. And then here, geranium, eucalyptus plants, one more of these purple dudes, another geranium. And then this basket is all mosh, but I was out of town when it was like at its peak, and then when I came back it all started going to seed. But at least I was able to grow a little bit of mosh this year. And then I also have this little aloe plant here that I picked up at Trader Joe's, because I really like having aloe. I want to be able to like use this on burns, and I actually want to try eating it too. Once upon a time in California, I had bought an aloe from IKEA, and the thing just kept growing and growing and growing, and I kept putting it in bigger and bigger pots, and it was massive. But I had to give it to friends because it just wouldn't survive the journey back to Wisconsin. Good morning, everybody. All right, here we are in my garden. Going to give you a garden tour again today. This is a garden tour update. I last filmed about a month ago, and as you can see, everything is kind of a jungle right now. So I wanted to update you, show you what's going on, show you what's growing, how it's growing, and just kind of discuss like any little random problems or things that I am dealing with. All right, so right off the bat, right when you come in, all my kale and cabbage. So I've got tons of stuff growing here. This kale is massive, and I really pick this a lot. I put a ton of kale into my smoothies every day. So yeah, I just kind of can't keep up with it. So right here we've got some nice red Russian kale. Super pretty. And then I've got a type of cabbage here. I think this is called the Brunswick cabbage. I know I didn't give this enough space. I'm sorry, cabbage. Please still grow. And then next door, we've got this Premier kale. And this one's really, really pretty too. It's a really, really big leaf. I pick a lot of this as well. I've mainly been picking the Premier and the Red Russian to throw into smoothies because they're the biggest. And then here I've got some Napa cabbages, and they are so pretty. And I have to come in on this one in particular because it's just beautiful. It's like perfect little cabbage. And all of these were basically just planted from seed. I just threw some seeds in the ground. I did, you know, plant some indoors, but then they all died because I was in France, imagine that. But yeah, now they look great. Here we've got some curly kale. This looks so beautiful. I need to start picking this. This is absolutely ready now. And then here I've got another type of cabbage. I believe this is my Oxheart cabbage. Again, really beautiful. And then right next door to that, we've got our Lacinato kale. Nice big leaves there. I feel like this isn't growing as well as it did last year. I felt like last year my Lacinato was beautiful. Maybe it just needs a little more time. Then around the border, I've got some cosmos. I got a nice big dill plant over there that's really popped up. Some marigolds back in the corner, more cosmos, some zinnias. This is my first trellis here, and this is my cucumber loofah and sweet pea trellis. So as you can see, I've got some nice sweet pea blossoms. Wish you could smell these. They smell amazing. And then we've got some cucumbers here. They're growing pretty well. I do have some cucumber blossoms. Oh yeah, loads of blossoms down there. Can't remember which variety of cucumber this is. I didn't grow too many this year. Got some pretty nasturtiums peeking out here. Love when everything starts to blossom. It's so beautiful. All right, and then down at the end here, I've got my loofahs, and they are starting to trellis, and they look really, really good. My loofah plants are kind of taking off here. I'm pretty excited about that. All right, then underneath this trellis, you know, it's kind of a jungle under here too. I've got some greens, lots of lettuce. I got some radishes going there, some onions. I've been picking lettuce like every 3 or 4 days. It's so delicious. I wish we could have this type of climate all year round so I could have all of these wonderful things to eat all year round that I grow myself. So I'm really pleased my loofahs are starting to trellis fairly well. And then next to the loofahs, I got some beans and carrots. So I've got 2 rows of beans. The ones closest to me are the purple tea peas. Then the other ones with the little white blossoms over here. These are called jade bush bean, I believe. And they're gigantic. I really had to tie them up, to stake them up. And then in between some carrots, I've got 2 rows of carrots in here. I did try to thin out my carrots, but I just really suck at thinning. I really hate thinning plants. All right, and then this next trellis, this is my pea trellis, my snap pea. So actual peas that you can eat, not sweet peas. So this side is one variety of sweet pea, snap pea, I should say. So I have tons of them, but I'm letting them fatten up a little bit. This one, like this fat, that looks pretty good. I don't know if these are actually peas I can eat the shells. I feel like when I bought the seeds, it said you could. But when I eat them, they are really tough and fibrous and not very good. So I think this might be a type of pea that you need to shell. So then on this side of the trellis, I've got another type of snap pea, and these are legit good. These ones you can definitely eat the pod. I believe these are called like Amish sweet pea, Amish snap pea, but they're very tasty. And then underneath this trellis, I don't have a whole lot growing right now. I do have 1 row of lettuce that I started a couple weeks ago, but then I recently, actually like 2 days ago, I ripped out everything else that was down here. I had some spinach and arugula, and they were just gigantic, and they'd gone to seed. So yeah, I ripped them out, and then I put in 2 rows of lettuce and 1 row of radishes. All right, then right next to the peas, obviously got some flowers peeking out behind there, some nasturtiums, marigolds. But I do have a couple tomato plants, and these are actually plants that I bought. I only bought 2 tomato plants this year, and I just bought them because the greenhouse had a big promo. So I think that one is like San Marzano. I think it's San Marzano. And then this one is one called a pineapple tomato. So I think that's supposed to be a relatively large tomato, very sweet flavor. And then speaking of tomatoes, let's just take a peek at all of my tomato plants here. If you saw my video from a month ago, my first garden update for 2019, I was lucky if my tomato plants were literally like 8 inches tall. And now every one is like 2 or 3 feet. They're super bushy. I'm actually gonna spend a couple hours today trimming them. Now is the time when they need to, you know, need to be trimmed, get some airflow going in there. They're just a little bit too bushy. So I will do that after I finish filming this. All right, then right next to all my tomatoes, I've got my melons, which are really, really taking off. Super pleased, my melons look super good. And then next to the melons, we got another row of beans. These are some yellow bush beans. They're really growing well. And then this whole section here is summer squash. So we got loads of blossoms. You can see lots of pretty yellow blossoms here. And we're starting to get some little baby squashes. So this first section, these are, ouch, don't have gloves on, that hurt. These are patty pan squashes. So that is one little bitty baby patty pan. So cute. And then the next row over, I've got some Italian striped zucchinis. You can see a couple in there. And just look at all these blossoms. Isn't that just so pretty? Oh, just beautiful. And then next to that, I've got a row of yellow squash. See, I've got lots of little babies here. I'm gonna have tons in a couple days. And then finally over here, I've got some gray zucchinis. They're looking pretty good. Just need a few more days. Now, one thing I do want to point out on my squash, I've been very vigilant about dealing with this situation. These are squash bug eggs, and I basically will just trim this off and like smush the eggs. If you let these become adults, you will just have an infestation of bugs, and they will destroy your plants and frustrate the daylights out of you. I will have to do a thorough squash bug egg trimming today. All right, and then finally this last trellis. I have got quite the winter squash collection here. So this side that's really trellising well, this is spaghetti squash. You can see I've got lots of blossoms, got some little bitty baby squash forming here. And I did, you know, use these little O-rings to help them trellis, but they've really started to figure it out. They've really started to trellis. And also, speaking of bugs, that is a Japanese beetle. Japanese beetles are back this year. I have been on a mission to kill all of them. Hate them. But anyway, they're not too bad this year. Well, not yet, knock on wood. But yeah, so those are my spaghetti squash. They're really growing well. And then on this side, same thing, but these are just my butternut squash. So they're not as big as the spaghetti squash yet, but you know, some of them are starting to trellis. I'll have to stake up more of these today. And then underneath this trellis, it's just kind of a bit of a mess, a bit of a jungle. Got some onions, some more lettuce, radish, more lettuce over here. I have pulled some of this. It just kind of seems like it's getting a bit bad because the squash is sort of taking over everything. Not sure how my onions are gonna do. They don't really seem to be getting too much light under here, but we shall see. Nice big parsley plant here. Look at those nasturtiums, aren't they just stunning? Got some calendulas starting to bloom. They're so pretty. I would say in about 2 or 3 weeks, everything is going to be blossoming and just, oh, just beautiful. I really think the flowers are gonna take off soon. And yes, in case you hadn't noticed it before, that is a pink flamingo. I probably had that when I was in 4th or 5th grade. I totally was obsessed with tacky lawn ornaments when I was little. I still kind of am. I do love them. And yeah, that was in my parents' garage, so I brought her back for my garden. And there you go. That is my little garden update. Got a bunch of work to do today. Gonna trim some tomatoes, go on bug patrol. But everything is growing very, very, very nicely. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!